I'm 81 years old. Last week, I deleted my son's number from my phone. No, I haven't gone senile, and I don't hold a grudge. It's just that he can't grasp one simple thing. I'm happy alone. 3 days ago, he sent a text. Dad, I found the perfect match for you. Her name is Ellen. She's a widow, 75, very active. Just have a coffee. I didn't answer. 7 years ago, I would have said yes. 7 years ago, I did exactly that. And that decision almost destroyed the last quiet years of my life. Let me tell you what everyone is afraid to say out loud. Sometimes the loneliest you'll ever be is when you're lying in bed next to someone. My wife, Martha, passed away when I was 70. Cancer. We had 6 months from diagnosis to goodbye. Those first 2 years after she left were brutal. The house felt too big, and Sundays were the worst. We used to make breakfast together, read the papers, just exist near each other. Without her, Sundays felt like walking through a thick fog, but slowly, I found a rhythm. Not happiness in the classic sense, but a rhythm. I started volunteering at the local archives every Tuesday, joined a chess club, and learned to fix things around the house myself instead of waiting for help. It wasn't the life I'd planned with Martha, but it was mine. Then my son started worrying. Dad, you need to meet someone. You're alone all the time. It's not healthy. Friends pressured me too. Arnold, you're still a strong man. Don't give up. And I started to believe them. I started thinking that maybe I was a coward hiding in my little shell, that I owed it to myself to try again. A friend from the chess club introduced me to Christina. She was 74 and had lost her husband 4 years prior. A lovely woman, they said. We started with phone calls. She had a pleasant, calm voice. We talked for hours about books, places we'd been, and how strange it felt to start over at this age. 2 weeks later, we met at a small restaurant. She was easy to talk to. She told me about her grandkids, her flowers, and how she was ready to try and build something new. Driving home that night, I thought, well, maybe everyone was right. Maybe I was wrong to think I was better off alone. The first couple of months weren't bad. We had dinner twice a week, walked in the park when my knee wasn't bothering me. It seemed normal. But then, the little things started. She would call in the morning just to see how I was. Then at lunch. Then before bed. At first, I thought it was sweet. Isn't that what couples do? They stay in touch. But after a few weeks, something shifted. If I didn't answer immediately, she'd call again. Then a text. Where are you? I'm worried. Why aren't you picking up? One time I was at the chess club, and the phone vibrated in my pocket. I didn't answer. When I called back 2 hours later, she was offended. I didn't know where you were. I explained I have chess every Wednesday. But you could have warned me. I felt this weight in my chest, a sense of guilt for spending 2 hours with my friends doing what I love. Then came the weekends. Every Saturday, Christina wanted to do something. Visit a fair, go to her daughter's, try a new restaurant on the other side of town. And if I said I just wanted a quiet weekend at home, she'd give me this wounded look. Don't you want to see me? I thought we were together now. I started saying yes, even when I wanted to say no. Because what kind of person are you if you disappoint someone who just wants to be with you? Here is what no one tells you. When you're over 80 and you find someone, everyone assumes you should be grateful. Like you won the lottery. Like you should just thank your lucky stars that someone wants to be with you at your age. So, when you're tired, when you need time alone, when you just want one quiet Saturday to yourself, you feel like an old egoist. An ungrateful old man. About 6 months in, I noticed something. Every time her name appeared on the screen, my body tensed up. Not in happy anticipation, but as if I were bracing for a blow. One night, she called at 10:45 p.m. I was already in bed reading, about to turn out the light. Part of me didn't want to answer. But I thought, what if something happened? What if she's ill? I answered. Nothing had happened. She just wanted to talk about her day, what her son said, a problem with the kitchen tap. We talked for an hour. When I finally hung up, I just sat there in the dark. I was exhausted, not from the late hour, but from something else I couldn't yet name. The next morning, my old friend Carl called. Hey, Arnold, want to go fishing on Saturday? I'll pick you up. I wanted to say yes so badly. I love fishing with Carl. We can sit for hours without speaking, just watching the water. That is peace. But I knew, if I went, Christina would want to come. And if she came, there would be no peace. There would be comments about mosquitoes, about being bored, about when we could finally go home. So I turned Carl down. That night, sitting in my armchair, I realized my life no longer belonged to me. And it wasn't just about my time. It was my energy. At 81, I wake up at 7, drink my coffee, maybe do a little garden work. By 3 p.m., I'm tired. I need to rest, to sit in silence. But Christina didn't understand that. She wanted to go to dinner at 6:30 p.m. and then visit someone. We'd get back at 10 or 11 p.m., and I was completely destroyed. "I'm not as young as I used to be," I'd say. She'd look at me like I was making excuses. "My brother is 80 and still goes dancing twice a week." This constant comparative pressure felt worse than any illness. I began to feel old not because of my age, but because I couldn't keep up with her pace. My energy was being drained just to maintain the facade of a happy, active retiree, when all I really wanted was to sit on the porch and watch the sunset. Alone. The breaking point came 8 months in. We were having dinner at her place, and she suddenly said, "I think we should move in together. It makes financial sense, and we spend so much time together anyway. It would be wonderful to wake up together every morning." I sat there with my fork in midair, and my heart just sank that I went home and sat in my living room. This is my home. This is where Martha and I raised our son. I've lived here for 40 years. I thought about sharing this space with someone else. Someone else deciding when I eat, when I sleep, when I can have my coffee in total silence on the porch. Panic seized me. Real, suffocating panic. The following week, I broke up with her. "I can't do this anymore," was all I could say. She was shocked, then insulted. What did I do wrong? The guilt was crushing, but I told the truth. "You didn't do anything wrong. I'm just not ready to share my life with anyone." I thought I was, but I'm not. She got angry. She said I wasted her time, that I was an egoist and a coward. Maybe she was right in some ways. For the first few weeks, I felt terrible. My son was disappointed. My friends didn't understand. "You had such a good woman, Arnold. You won't find a better one at your age." But slowly, something strange began to happen. I woke up one Saturday and my first thought was, what do I want to do today? Not what does Christina want? Not what do I have to do? But what do I want? I went fishing with Carl again. I went back to my chess club without checking my phone every 10 minutes. I had quiet evenings at home, read what I wanted, watched what I wanted, and went to bed when I felt tired. And I wasn't lonely. I was at peace. Here is what I learned. There is a massive difference between being alone and being lonely. With Christina, I was never alone, but I was deathly lonely because I couldn't be myself. That's the worst kind of loneliness, when someone is sitting right next to you, but you've never felt more isolated because you're forced to play a role that it's been 7 years since Christina. I'm 81. I haven't dated since, and I'm not going to. Not because I'm bitter or hate women, but because I finally realized. I started that relationship out of fear, not out of a need for love. Fear of what people would think. Fear of being the only single man in the group. Fear of admitting that I actually like my own company. That fear pushed me into a relationship that made me miserable. Now I wake up at 7, make my coffee exactly how I like it, and I don't have to explain myself to anyone. My son finally stopped pressuring me last Christmas. He said, "Dad, you look much happier now." And he's right. I am happier not because I found the perfect person, but because I found peace. Listen, I'm not saying relationships are bad. I'm not saying you shouldn't try. But if you're 70, 75, or 80, and you're thinking about a relationship just because you're afraid of being alone, stop. Ask yourself what you're really afraid of. Because the truth is, being alone doesn't mean being lonely. At this age, peace isn't a luxury. It's a survival mechanism. My body and my mind can no longer handle the constant emotional labor, the compromises, and the guilt. I chose peace, and I'm not going to apologize for it. Do I get lonely sometimes? Of course. The holidays can be hard. Sometimes I see couples my age holding hands and feel a slight pang in my heart. But those moments pass, and they are nothing compared to the loneliness I felt when I was with the wrong person. That if you are in a relationship that is draining the life out of you, you are allowed to leave. Even at 80. And if you are alone and people are telling you to find someone, you have every right to say no. Your own company is enough. You don't need someone else to validate your existence. You have one life, one chance to live these final years on your own terms. Don't waste them trying to make someone else happy while you slowly disappear. Don't trade your peace for a companionship that brings chaos. I'm 81. I live alone, and I'm happier than I've ever been. That's not sad. That's wisdom. And you? Are you happy in your relationship? Or are you happy alone? Write to me in the comments. I really want to hear your story. Once, when Christina and I had been together for about 5 months, she decided to tidy up my house. I came home from a walk and smelled the sharp scent of cleaning products. She had rearranged all the spices, thrown away my old cast iron skillet that Martha had used to cook breakfast for 30 years because it looked dirty and outdated to her. She was beaming. "Arnold, it's finally cozy in here." But I stood there and felt my home becoming a stranger to me. She bought new curtains, bright ones that hurt my eyes. She changed my brand of morning coffee because the one I'd drunk for years was bad for the heart. That's when I realized, when you let someone into your life at 80, that person doesn't just come with love. They come with their own rule book. They try to rewrite the habits that are your very foundation. I couldn't sleep much that night. I felt like a guest in my own home. It wasn't care, it was a soft occupation of my peace. I understood that the price of not being alone was the total loss of the small world I had so carefully rebuilt after my wife died. It was a Friday evening. My joints were aching because of a change in the weather, and all I wanted was a hot bath and an old book about travel. But Christina was already at the door in her best dress. Her friend was celebrating a jubilee at a noisy restaurant with live music. "Arnold, don't be a bore. We need to get out among people," she said. I went. All evening, I sat at a table where the music was so loud I couldn't hear my own voice. I had to smile at strangers, nod at stories I didn't care about, and drink wine that gave me heartburn. When the dancing started, she pulled me onto the floor. I danced, feeling every step like a torture for my knees, but I saw her friends looking at us and whispering, "What a perfect couple. How lucky they are." I got home at 1 in the morning. The next day, I couldn't get out of bed from the pain and the emotional hangover. Christina, meanwhile, was energetic and already planning the next outing. That was when I realized, at this age, we have different fuel tanks. Her tank was full of social activity, while mine required silence to regenerate. Trying to match someone else's energy at 81 is the fastest way to end up in the graveyard ahead of schedule. I chose the quiet armchair over the noisy halls, and it was the best decision I ever made.